Hey there, Starlight here. This segment is really to help community leaders dive into the behind the scenes thinking, psychology, and strategy that exists inside a membership and a community that they can then serve better their customers and experience better retention, engagement, connection, and long-term transformation in their membership, right? And so while we look at retention as a numeric on a chart to say how long are people staying for, are they staying and getting what they need, and do they stay with our brand continually after that, which feels very dry and very strategic, that mathematical number is deeply, deeply connected to how they feel as people inside of the membership. And it's really about connection. And this is my pulling back the veil on what makes people stay and how we can focus on some really important time in our memberships joining us to leverage and create that connection that they're looking for, and therefore boost retention, create communities that really matter, and have long-term impact in people's lives. So let's dig in. The blueprint for retention basically boils down to three core fundamentals. Is our member clear on where they are? Are they clear about how to conduct themselves? Are they clear about how to get things done? And are they clear about where to find things? When somebody is oriented to their space, it makes them feel safer and like they're in more control of what's happening to them. And that's definitely a vibe we want to cultivate inside of a community, right? The next is about connection. A community is not one person to many. In fact, that's a recipe for a cult. So if it's not one to many and it's many to many, then it's really important for us not to be the linchpin of connection inside of our community, but to actually be a connector, lighting the flames of other people's candles and getting them connected as well. Part of that means connecting with them in a personal way so that they don't feel like they're one in a million. A lot of that is connecting them to their journey inside of this membership, helping them understand where they are and what's ahead of them because they are here for a result. And this helps them actually get better results when they can see it, perceive it, and be connected to it. But then we're also very much wanting to connect them with other people in the network and in the community and in the membership because people don't buy memberships for connection. They just don't. They buy memberships because there's a promise about that membership that they want for themselves, right? A membership says, "I'll help you solve X." And the ideal customer comes along and goes, "Yes, I absolutely want X." But nobody is selling, "I want you to come and join another 1,000 people and like make new friends," right? Nobody's selling that because nobody wants to pay for that. But community is why people stay when they get enough of what they came for. So when we begin to deliver the results that they came here for and they go, "Cool, that could be enough." It's actually their connections to other people inside of the community that influence how long they will continue to stay because they've made connections with other people that are valuable and even more valuable than the cost of being in the membership. It's pretty clear why this is such a fundamental piece of the blueprint for retention. Then we go over here to accelerate. I also call this getting up to speed. Your membership is a group of people going at a specific speed, like a group of cars on a highway. And your new member needs an on ramp that gets them up to speed with everybody else, whether that's being engaged in how the content and conversation is being delivered inside of the community, or that's about helping them begin making progress and actually getting results for where they're headed and why they're here in the membership. We're going to dive into each of these corner pieces a little bit more here, but I just wanted to give you the bigger picture that all of these things are interconnected and we don't want to leave them out. And yet when we look at it like this, it feels like a really big to-do list, but we'll break it down much, much easier as we get into it. So when we look at how do we build connection, it's all about helping members feel seen, commit to the reason that they're being there, and connect with other members. How many of you have picked up a new habit that you totally planned to make part of your life identity and then it didn't work out and you bounced onto something else, right? People are joining a membership for a reason because there's something that they want to get as a result of joining that membership. the early stage of orienting them and retention is helping them build connection and connect with the path and reason that they joined in the first place. This is where truly transformative community leaders know where our target avatars are trying to go and are equipped to help them not only achieve that with content and events inside of a community, but actually help that person see, feel, and connect with and decide, yes, this is going to be one of the things I'm going to stick with that's going to change my life. So we can dive into a lot of different ways on how to do this. The top lines are the ones that are in bold, right? That are the most important. Connect in a personal way with new members. This can be automated. It's not that big of a deal, but an enthusiastic and personal welcome experience feels like the hostess met you at the door and was delighted to invite you into her house. And that's the vibe that a personal welcome gives when people first arrive. For community managers and leaders, I suggest that this is a DM, if not a public shout out, or both, right? I also suggest that advanced communities pick 2 or 3 people who they would consider MVPs inside of their community to act as a welcome committee and ensure that everybody who's coming in the door, somebody is DMing them with a hi, I'm so glad you're here. How can I help you? Do you have any questions? Right? And like just make them delighted to be here and send them on their way to something that they need to do, right? Which really leads to being familiar with the member success journey. Every member is there to accomplish something. The leaders of that community know how that something happens. This may need more documentation inside of your community if this isn't something that you can point to as a resource that everybody's kind of agreeing to. But generally speaking, they need to know what the journey is for them. So don't just talk to them about the thing that they're going to achieve. Help break it down into steps. Help them know where they are on that journey and then how to. This really sets people up for what's possible about being an engaged and motivated member. Often we just need to see the idea to want it and then commit to it. But if nobody ever showed us what it's like to be the MVP or at VIP or long-term mentor of a community, then I have no reason to ever think about being a mentor of a community, right? And so we're not just showing them the journey for themselves, we're showing them for the journey inside of the community and the levels of experience and expertise that there is. But more than anything, we're connecting them with the reason that they're there and so that they can get more results. Connecting them with their network is all about building excitement around who else is there, right? Whether it's a monthly member mixer to get people connected, whether you respond to somebody's introduction post with a specific tag of another member that they would be good to connect with. That's a really great way to do it. Making 2 or 3 specific introductions to other members is definitely a way to accelerate connection. And it also speaks to the culture of your community by like, this is how we do things, right? We reach out, we connect. We don't isolate. We don't go into a hole. We're not all here by ourselves. We're not just numbers, right? And then there's also the element of we want people paying attention to the leaders of the community because that's where the core content and acceleration is going to come from. But we also want to connect them with other people that might be consistently posting interesting things or be a part of something bigger inside the context of the community because again, building that connection is absolutely essential, and you don't want to be the choke point inside of somebody's connection so that, if you need to take some time off or your role inside the membership changes, suddenly nobody's connecting, nobody's engaging because nobody was connected outside of that one individual. That's a boo place to be, right? The next part of this is pretty straightforward, getting oriented and comfortable to their space. In the culture, it's sharing rituals of the space, showing your members how to act. We talked about in our house, we do this. When we do this, it helps get people in line much quicker than saying, this is our rules and do not disobey or we will throw you out. Like there's a serious energetic dynamic around that, and you can do as you please, but usually demonstrating by acting it out and sharing in advance of somebody totally blowing it sets the community up as a whole not to become divisive when somebody acts out of line. And it also means that you're not the manager having to stomp or that's an inappropriate post. This isn't the right forum. Like, we don't want any of that shit on your day-to-day business. And the way to solve that is by upfront being very clear about the rituals of the space. And this is done well by connecting them with more mature members who can answer questions on how to get things accomplished, or if they're not sure on how to conduct themselves. It's more of a friendship and mentorship relationship rather than like a policing and rules and how dare you and moderation activity. Obviously, it's really about setting clear boundaries, expectations, but also, and please do not underestimate this, common values. Common values are the glue that keep community together because we can have a lot of differences, but if we all believe in one set of common outcomes and values together, our differences can be superseded by the value of that connection to our vision and our values as a whole. And so that's why it's so important for a community to communicate it and demonstrate its culture and values. And then there's also indoctrinating new members into the big vision. This is pretty clear, right? We're all here for an individual transformation, but what comes next? What are we all aligned to? What are we all working towards? What do we agree on? This can be absolutely transformative. And yet sometimes it can be the squeamiest place for community leaders to lean in and document and set up a vibe around it. But just know that it's actually a safety mechanism for your members, holding a safe space, creating a safe space. And it's a scaling mechanism because when you have everybody in alignment inside of your community on what the culture of that community is and what the rules and values of that community is, when you influx 200 new members into that community, you don't dilute that culture and lose it because it was offset by people who don't know how to conduct themselves in a group of people who also didn't know how to conduct themselves, right? Systems, this is super freaking straightforward. I think it's really important to set expectations about notifications and so that people don't unsubscribe to the stuff that's important. And so that means we need to tell them that will only alert them about specific things, and the difference between an email alert and a platform pop-up, and give them some guidance on how to navigate the system of the community. And you'll find that you have way less problems with people not feeling like they know how to get things done. But you'll also be able to be really clear and on guiding people on how to get help, right? Because that's one thing that many people don't know how to do when they get into a community. And if they don't know how to get help, they're gonna mess up doing it the first time. And then a lot of people will do it, and the leaders of the community will get fed up and tired because nobody's using the process or signing up for the events or RSVPing for the thing. You know what I mean? And so set clear guidance on how system works and what you expect in regards to how they navigate and complete core activities that are essential to your membership. This is pretty specific per community, but the moral of the story is clarity and transparency around what to expect and how to access things that they might need in a stressful situation, meaning something is not working, they've run into an obstacle, they really need help. Like if you tell them that there are resources for them when they're going to feel that way, then you'll be able to really boost retention because you're basically saying, here's the backup plan for if things go off the rail. And when you say that to somebody, it makes them feel so much more situated and at home in a space. And it gives them the confidence to go, okay, if something goes crazy right now, I know how to get help to handle it, right? It's such a great and safe space to be. And it's just great for everybody all around. And then content. This is about where to find what it is they need, things that may vary about that content. Like just set expectations on how to show up on video, or if they're coming to the space, can they join on camera? Where should they start specifically relevant to all the content? We know that overwhelm is one of the biggest reasons people unsubscribe to memberships. And often it's because there's not what feels like a clear guide on where they need to go based on their current place in the path. And so any sort of orientation that can be done around this, both systematically or manually by community managers, is all freaking golden. The last little piece of this is really about accelerating progress and immersion into the community. Again, this is about getting them up to speed, deliver a quick win, help them get amazing results and leave the wallflower life behind. That means we want to get them posting and engaging as quickly as possible. Yes, there are lurkers in communities, but so many of them are lurkers because they were never explicitly invited or clearly rewarded for participating inside of a membership. And a membership thrives and it is engaged because people see the value of their contribution as much as they see the value of the content inside of the community that they are consuming. So what this looks like in practice is as soon as possible, get them posting and engaging inside of the community, answer questions, share praise, respond to engagement with open loops, meaning that like you should never really be the last person in the conversation. They should be the one that goes, okay, done, bye. And so it's always like, oh my God, that's amazing. Have you met Jennifer, who also does that? Conversation, chat, right? Like that's an open loop versus like, hi, so glad you're here. Thanks for introducing yourself. That is a closed loop, right? And so respond to engagement with an open loop. When we look at engagement, these are the things that we really want to focus on. Getting them posting and engaging. Always answer questions with a proposed next step. Meaning, if somebody goes, I don't know how to blah, 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 we go, great, you can find it over here. When you're done watching the video, let me know what you think, right? That's this sort of like proposed next step. Or after you get done with that video, let me see the worksheet that you did, right? Something that makes them not just get the response of what you asked them, but takes them to the next level. And then honestly, this is where the values of the community, we see that, we share that, we praise that when we see it happening inside of memberships. There are lots of ways to do this in subtle ways and less than subtle ways. But the smallest way is simply by highlighting members, giving them the opportunity to talk about their background, the projects that they're working on, allow your audience to become part of their audience as well. But then when we say, this is why we featured someone, ensure that you're talking about the recognition and praise that they get for demonstrating their amazing contribution to the community and the values of the community itself, right? Momentum, deliver a quick win. This means quick. This means in the first week that they are a member, what can they do that would help them feel like they made great progress? How can you reward them for taking action with little cookies? How are the first 3 steps of the journey for them to begin getting results practically effortless? And then build a dose into member experiences. This is kind of an advanced bit of thinking here, but dose is dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins, right? And we can get a dose by like jumping up and down, singing, meditating, and hugging and moving our body, right? Like there's a way in which the physicology of our bodies can be built into member experiences that really help boost somebody's momentum along their journey. And then of course, it's all about results, upsell opportunities to get it done faster, right? Here's the thing. A membership's not for everybody. A membership's a great proving ground for some people to find out if they like to work with somebody more. But if they don't know that there's a next step or an opportunity to get it done faster and easier, will they? So we tell them that there is, we show them the journey and we say, by the way, when you're ready to get this done faster and easier, here's the way to do it. But we also accelerate them getting results by sharing examples of other people winning, because it's always inspiring to see somebody else's progress. Because when somebody's in the membership that somebody says, oh my God, this membership changed my life and now I'm XYZ, and person B is like, I really want that. This level of seeing other people win will accelerate their own results because they're more likely to commit to the journey and make progress, right? Find a way, in a minor way, in a systemized way, to track member progress and experience, right? Again, we don't want people to feel like they're a number. And when your membership gets a lot bigger, it'll be important for there to be some customer satisfaction understanding around their progress and their coaching. And so finding a way to keep track how people are doing and getting their feedback on their experience will get better results for them. And then every now and then, schedule a low-key check-in with your freaking members. It's not that complicated. Pop into the DMs and just go, hey, how's it going? If somebody's massive registration or renewal of their program is coming up, and they stopped making progress 8 weeks before their renewal started popping up, It shouldn't be, you should be popping into their inbox 6 weeks before, 2 weeks after we notice there's no progress, to go, hey, how's it going? Everything all right? I see you stopped making progress. How can we help you? Right? And things like this will accelerate results that you won't believe. And they're actually really powerful ways to help your members get results and just be a community that leads the industry by the level of results that your community gets. And in this context, scheduling the low key member check ins just means, like, I don't know, put your members on a list, break them into contact every 6 weeks, and make it randomize itself and pop into those people's DMs and just have a list of people that your community managers pop in to DM them and say, hey, how's it going? Or touch base, but re-engage them on the platform and see if you can figure out how things are going and make note of the important examples and cycle it back into the blueprint for retention. Okay, you get it. This is something that I could talk forever on and that you could dive in pretty deeply into. So if you have questions about this, let me know. This is really, truly a blueprint for retention, and it goes pretty deep. So let's get to the point of the whole thing. What are the most valuable activities in all of this, and when do they need to happen? And the truth of the matter is it's always onboarding and it's always early. The first 72 hours are the most influential in somebody's membership. It's shown across the board that psychologically people are entering with like a feeling of, oh, gee, I hope I'm going to get my money's worth. I wonder if this is going to be worth it. Oh my God, did I make a mistake and pay for another stupid thing that I don't need? Is this really going to get me the results that I said it was? You know what I mean? Psychologically, they're not coming in as their best self in the world of strong, confident, and ready. And that's where we really want them to be, because if they're going to get results inside of our membership and be a good customer and share their results with other people and become an ambassador of the community and eventually maybe even a mentor inside of the community based on their leadership roles, we need them to feel confident and be at their best selves when they're inside of the membership. And so the first 72 hours have been proven to be the habit setting, soft clay version of your member where you can make the most impact by engaging with them and connecting with them. And so this is what I would basically break down as the formula for the first 72 hours, that if possible, if there's any way to make this happen, this can be systemized in many ways, but this is also a killer guide for community managers. That if you're going to spend time greeting somebody or welcoming them or getting them to fill out a form or getting them to introduce themselves or whatever, these are the activities that we want to promote the most. And this is the timeline in which it is the most impactful. All the rest, great. Do your job, be engaging, loving and supporting, putting people on the path, helping them when they need it, setting them towards their vision with as much speed and results as you can. But these first 72 hours are absolutely impactful. It's about encouraging new members to post within the first 24 hours of their arrival. When they do, it's been proven that they'll be more likely to post and engage for the rest of their membership if they actually post within the first 24 hours of their membership. So we really definitely want to drive this. We drive this by asking people to create an introduction post or to comment on somebody else's conversation or to answer an icebreaker question. But they need to type something in and press enter so that everybody can see it for this to be considered checked, right? The next is about we need to engage with them. And so we do our best to quickly respond with what feel like personalized, action-driven replies into any new posts. I know that it's kind of tricky to say, okay, every single post in the platform needs to be answered within 24 hours, but that's the absolute best solution in regards to people feeling like it's the place where they want to go to get help. Now, that may or may not be feasible. 36 hours is probably as long as I would leave it, but when people post and don't get responses in a timely fashion, they don't go back to that well to continue to look for help. So when somebody posts, it's in our best interest to craft a personalized, action-driven, meaning, hi, Jennifer, use their name, tag them in the post, and then give them an action-driven response, meaning it's not rhetorical, but it leads to an outcome that you can give them thinking and guide their whatever, but always lead it to a specific action to take next step. And when we can do this as soon as possible, it really creates a stronger community. Now, this is obviously within the bounds of a community and time zones and availability, but in the first 72 hours of a new member, it's pretty important. The next is connecting. Slide into the DMs with a personal welcome message and a question. This doesn't have to be the leader of the community. This can be a welcome committee. This can be mentors inside of your community. This can be any number of people who've been graduated to be part of the welcome committee or are whatever role inside of your membership. But we want somebody popping into their inbox to say, hey, Jennifer, I'm so glad you're here. Tell me, what are you hoping to accomplish with this thing, right? Like a genuine question that they have to answer, not a yes, no bullshit, not something they can kind of, but like bring it to the point. They're here for a reason. Let's learn about why they're here and how you can help them. Because the response to that is inevitably going to be, oh my God, this is why I'm here. And your response to that inevitably is, oh my God, I have the perfect tool, resource, recording, content, place, person for you to go and get what you need. And because this has happened at such an early stage in their membership, it will be absolutely transformative to how they view that membership moving forward. Involve them in the conversation that's happening inside of the membership. Encourage them to share their goals and desires that inspired them to join, because this helps other people see them feel inspired to make that same post. This is really a great introductory post of like, tell us why you're here and what you hope to accomplish and what you desire, like what got you here. Besides being amazing customer research for understanding your customers and their motivations for joining, this is actually a really great way to get people involved in each other's experience inside of the membership, where they realize like, oh shoot, I'm not the only person that does this or feels this way. And then we offer them a challenge. This is a challenge for them to accomplish that early win, but we want to do it, right? One of the examples I really liked from somebody online a few years back was that she said, I'm going to challenge you to do things differently here than you've done them anywhere else. And that means connect when you would normally not connect. That means post when you would normally not post. And that means get stuff done, even though normally you might get it halfway done and forget about it, right? Like she just threw down the gauntlet in the world of helping them accomplish results, but also boost how her community was engaged and experienced the membership as a whole. It was an insane challenge. And every time I've seen it used, it works like a charm. And so whatever the challenge is that you're giving to somebody when they join a membership, inspire them to complete and share an early win. And when they do it, we want them to celebrate that win by posting, right? So that we can then celebrate them. And then I also like to add what I call a surprise, which is a personalized surprise bonus maybe they didn't know about. So this is something where like maybe you've got lead magnets or you've got a resource or a less known bit of content that would actually help this person, or a bonus, or whatever it can be. There's an opportunity for you to give them more than what they were expecting. That's what that really boils down to. Because when you give them more than what they were expecting, and you have encouraged them, engaged with them, connected them with others, involved them in the experience, and challenged them so that they got results, and then on top of it, you put a lovely little cherry with even more than what they expected, you have created an absolute recipe for long-term loyalty and interest in staying in the community and continuing to get results. That's it for now. Wishing you all the best. Thank you so much for joining me.